Good morning. Our hand today is Ace 9 of Hearts. Played this recently. Folded to me, I open raise. Um, I've got a mid position raising range. So raise first in. I look something like this. And then we have villain 2 calls, and we're going to see a flop. Now, villain 2, I have 198 hands on him. He's a little bit looser. But pre-flop cutoff, he's called a 2-bet 2 out of 13 times, which isn't a whole lot. I'll also point out that out of those 13 times, so he called twice, he raised 3-bet one time. So I kind of think he's playing somewhat aggressive, probably decent hands. I didn't make it overly. I think he's probably less likely to call with some of his hands. So the question is, how wide or how tight of range do we make? So I do think he's probably going to be raising jacks plus ace queen. I think 1 out of 13 kind of fits that. I could be wrong. Maybe he raises, maybe he 3-bets. So like the 1 3-bet I have is aces, his 4-bet range is kings plus. He calls, I think, with pocket pairs. Maybe he doesn't call with 2s or 3s. I think we're going to leave him off, and we're going to just kind of take a look to see what the play is with those hands. I kind of think with the 2s and 3s, we're going to be more likely to see him fold those types of hands instead of calling them post flop. So I don't really think it's going to make a huge deal in terms of our overall strategy. And then flop comes down 10-7-4 with 2 hearts. On this board, this is going to hit the caller's range harder than mine. I think there's going to be a lot of cards that are going to be calling here. I feel like this is a situation with my hand, with ace 9, that I'm going to be going for a check raise. I've got the nut flush draw, I have backdoor straight draws, and I've got the ace overcard. That's kind of what I feel like. The question is, could I rely on this player to actually lead if I check to him? So on the flop, I think we're looking at float bets. Right now, he's showing 2 out of 3 times that it's been checked to him. He has bet on the flop. I also see that his fold C bet when he's in position is 75%. So should we risk it? Should we bet? Should we go for a check? Should we try for a check raise? How bad is it if we just check and we miss it? So let's see what GTO looks like. So I've already built it, I've ran it, and it does look like we are going to be checking most of the time. I think I'm learning that on a board like this, it's going to be hard for us to see bet and get enough folds. So our strategy is going to be like check call, check raise, check fold. So our checking range, which is good, includes a lot of our hands. So what is our raising range actually? So like ace 10 looks to be our C betting range. So none of ace 10. No hearts, mostly. So top pair, I think that's okay. Ace 9 of spades, backdoor with ace 8, backdoor straight, backdoor flush. Ace 4, so it kind of looks like we're going to be betting top pair, bottom pair. And I think that's pretty good because if an ace comes, then we've got 2 pair, and maybe he calls with ace jack, ace 9 himself. I don't know, but I do like that we're supposed to check. All right, so we checked, and I just want to check, see what happens. So he's supposed to be betting most of the time. He's going to be betting 55% of the time, checking 55% of the time. He's going to be betting with quite a range of cards. Looks like flush draw, backdoor straight, backdoor flush draw type hands. He's betting. So for a suited king queen of hearts, king queen spades, king jack of hearts, king jack spades, ace jack of hearts. He's betting his top pair hands. He's supposed to bet trips. He doesn't really have 2 pair. He's betting straights. So let's see if he bets. what do I raise? So if I bet, it does say raise ace 10, because it's less likely that he's going to have a 10 at that point. We're raising tens, trip tens. We're raising ace 4, except the ace 4 of hearts. It's interesting. And you can see it looks like we are not raising ace 9. So I think that would be a mistake. My plan to go for a check raise isn't that good. So it looks like if he bets, we're going to be calling with our heart draw. And maybe the reason is that we have such a strong draw. Why would we want to raise and then get it in as an underdog? So maybe we're check calling here. So that's it. Let's see. Let's just call. Let's run this out. And then our turn. Let's see here. So we both checked. The turn was a 7 of diamonds. So we checked, he bet, and then we called. And then let's see what we do. Yeah, we still check our ace 9, still check. Looks like our nut flush draws a small number of bets. So let's say we check. And then if he plays according to GTO, then it looks like we're still calling, like check call with the ace 9s. And we really don't have a raising range at that point. So it's kind of interesting. Let's change this. Let's make this a 2 of diamonds and see what happens. So yeah, we're still supposed to check, and then we'll say he bets again. And yeah, it looks like we are still calling. What about if it was a 2 of hearts? Now it looks like we are betting a little bit. We are leading, but we check, he bets, and we still call. We still call with our nut flush draw. We raise a little bit with king jack, queen jack. So that's interesting. So I wouldn't have expected that. I would have expected on this board that, at least my play was to check raise here. And that does not seem to be a good play. And I wonder what kind of check raise we would make on, this type of board. Would it be better if we had a 9? Maybe if this was 9 of spades, 7-4 of hearts, where we had top pair and the nut flush draw. I'm going to say probably no, because even the ace 4 of hearts checks. So we check and he bets, and then you can see the ace 4 hearts still checks here. All right, so we checked and he checks, and we're going to say that he is playing close to GTO. So now on the turn, what's our play? Now it looks like we are supposed to be betting here with our ace 9, ace 8. Let's see our flush draws. How many of our flush draws we're betting? Ace 4 we're checking. Okay. Ace king, ace queen. I guess half bet, half check. I get that. So most of our flush draws we are going to be betting, except ace 4, bottom pair with the ace. So I mean we still have additional outs. So let's say we do bet and he raises. If he raises GTO, then it does look like we are calling with those flushes. What about if we did ace 4? So we checked and he bet. Where does ace 4 fall? Now we've got a mixed strategy. So, all right. So on this board, my thought of check raising blew up. And then I checked the turn, which GTO suggests that I should be betting here. And instead, villain bets. So I check and villain bets here. Now, according to GTO, see, it's not, my hand's not even in my range, but if it is, now I am calling. So, like aces, I'm surprised aces is here. So, it goes check, check. Did aces was a check. He checks, so aces are still in my range. So then we still look like we're mostly checking aces, but we're betting kings, queens, jacks. All right, so we check. So let's go back here and let's add these checks. So I think definitely these nut flush cards. I think we're looking at check raises. I don't think king queen, king jack. I don't think I would necessarily have raised those, but maybe I would have. Jack 9. Jack 9 of hearts I think looks good because we've got the gut shot and the straight. And same thing, 8-9. I think I'm going to be checking here. And 5-6. So let's just go ahead with all of our flush draws. We're going to be checking. And let's run the solver. All right, and we'll come back when it's done. All right, so finished up. So let's take a look at this. It still says we're supposed to be betting a lot of those hands. So I got my check on the hearts. So now villain bets half pot, which he does in the hand. And now what do? It still says I should be raising. So I think there's going to be quite a few things that are wrong with this hand. Hopefully I could learn from it. And not make this mistake again. So I think the check call is would have been better on the flop. I do like the check. I think it's just straight up. This board's gonna hit the calling range so much harder. So what actually happened? How did this hand play out? So he bet. I actually did the check raise, and I think check raise is appropriate with king, queen, king, jack, queen, jack. At least that's what it looks like here in GTO. So I bet, I raised, and then he calls. And then the river was a 5 of diamonds. And when I bet, I did bet out, but you can see that I check raised those. I got called, I missed, and then GTO says to just check. Now I would be betting, looks like 7s, so quads, 3 7s. Looks like 6-5 we're betting now. 4s, full house. These are ace 4s, bottom pair. I think we're betting these are mostly for bluffs. So what do we do now? So we're supposed to be betting 68% of the time, checking 32% of the time, including checking the flush. I bet, and I bet larger. Tried to polarize a little bit more. Maybe I should have bet pot. But he comes over the top, and now the question is, what is he doing that with? Could he do this with 6-8? Maybe. If he has 6-8 in his range, but you don't pay him off. I mean, could he be bluffing? Yeah, he could be, but I think my check raise showed a lot of strength. My check raise is showing that I have like a 10. My check raise could be showing that I might have a 7, or that I have overpair, maybe jacks or queens. My check raise indicated that I had some decent strength, and I bet again on the river. You don't do that just straight up. I mean, some people do that as a bluff, and that's what I'm kind of working on, is including a bluffing range, and you should do that. And I'm trying to learn how wide my bluffing range should be. And in this case, it was probably way too wide. So let's see, I bet, and let's say he raises, and then it looks like I am calling here with trips. I'm basically full trips, and fours full of sevens. I think he had at least a seven, probably he can probably beat a full house, or he probably has at least a full house. So I folded, and just be done with the hand. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I wish we could see what he had, but we can't. So hopefully you enjoyed this hand. If you did, look tomorrow for another.